There has been a new mechanic added into Splatoon 3 version 11, and it's a whole lot different than we thought it would ever be. Introducing Flow Aura. Yes, it's really cool, that Flow Aura. I can find it. Flow Aura. You can now aura farm in Splatoon 3. So the Splatoon 3 version 11 update is going to be coming out January the 29th, which if you're living in the UK or Japan, because I'm reading this from Nintendo UK, it's going to be on the 29th or like nighttime. If you're in the US or anywhere else on that part of the world, it's going to be on the 28th nighttime around like 7 p.m. or 4 p.m. PST, somewhere around there. But Flow Aura is the new Splatoon 3 mechanic. And what is Flow Aura? So Flow Aura, of course, Inklings and Octolings who get multiple splats in quick succession will enter a new state called Flow Aura. As the state is activated, a burst of ink will paint around the player. It lasts for about 30 seconds, during which times players will get a boost of their run speed, swim speed, ink resistance, intensify action, but if you make use of the boost, you get to splat more opponents or assist teammates doing so. Then you can extend the duration of Flow Aura even further. Each successive splat in Flow Aura will also reactivate the ink flow, painting the ground around your feet once again, so there's even more incentive to splat as many opponents as possible. This sounds so much like Opening Gambit without even needing Opening Gambit. One can imagine what Opening Gambit is even like using something like this. So we got videos as well. If I can just go ahead and play it. Wow, just gonna go full screen like this. So you can see if you get 3 splats in quick succession just like that, you enter Flow Aura. So it's not just like you get 1 kill and you know, the Flow Aura is activated. So like if you get 3, Flow Aura is activated. So I feel like weapons that are able to actually obtain a lot of splats like this are more likely to actually get it compared to other weapons in the game as well. But I guess it's not like, okay, you get 1 kill and then you're already instantly going to Flow Aura. Like, you know, you can only get it if like you're actually going on a streak. So get 3 kills or get in a 3 streak in quick succession, by the way, then it's actually possible. So the thing is though, is that you can only reactivate the Flow Aura state if you are able to get more kills after the 30 seconds. So, and it always just reactivates after every single kill, which is actually really, really cool. So I was gonna say, would this actually affect how people now make their builds? Like, I guess weapons that get a lot of kills just in general, or are able to obtain a lot of them, would they have to rethink about putting how much ink resistance they have, or swim speed, or run speed, or stuff like that? In my opinion, I don't think you have to, because you still have to eliminate more than half of the team just to even enter flow state in the first place. So it's just like, you're gonna probably have to build the same way, so it's not gonna really change anything, but like, you know, it's just a nice thing that you get a boost if you're going crazy, and I feel like it's just gonna be a little bit more satisfying if you can get more kills afterwards, because your run speed and swim speed and ink resistance and intensify action, that's gonna be increased and all that type of stuff. So that's actually quite nice, especially like if you're using like a splatter shot or any sort of quick fragging weapon that can get close range into things. So it's just like, you know, that probably will actually help certain weapons like that too. So this is just another video showing the grounds when I guess you are in flow state. So this is like current flow state. You can see like on the ground itself, it just does so much more ink. That's actually insane. I think just for, you know, paint coverage, that's just so good. Like, especially if anyone is like close around you, I could just see that if anyone else is near you, they're just gonna get stunned by the ink that you're just kind of producing around you. So that's actually just a really cool change in general. So, and also if you've been keeping a watchful eye for this, we now have health bars in Splatoon 3. And it's actually really interesting because as this also reads, I mean, of course, a health bar is a health bar, you should know what that is, but if you notice, things like thermal ink actually get a buff. Like if you're using thermal ink and if you shoot a player that of course has a health bar, you're gonna be able to see where that player moves with the health bar just on top of their head. You'll be able to tell how weak they are, how, like, if they're full health or anything like that. So it's actually quite nice for thermal ink. Do I think it's gonna make thermal ink much stronger than before? Probably not. I mean, it's just thermal ink is still, I still see it as like a training wheel kind of like ability, but it's also just a nice thing to have, especially too because point sensors and wave breakers and angle shooters, like when you're basically marked, you're going to be able to see the health bar of the player going around the map as well, which is also really nice. It's going to make it much more like bait where those players are going to be running, which is really, really interesting too. So I do like the look of that. I mean, you can see a closer or a better video of this. You can have a proper health bar, dude. You're also able to see the player actually regaining their health, like how a player regains their health. So it's gonna be easier to tell, like, okay, how did I not take that guy out? It's because the person was recovering their health. So that's actually really nice. That's actually really nice. So it's like you can actually now tell how weak someone now is specifically on stuff like this. So yeah, that's interesting. I like that change. I really like that change. I mean, it's just like now we can just like be more aware of like the BS that might happen in the game if we didn't actually get the final hit on someone. So that's really nice. I love that. Continuing on, hit detection has been changed in a different way. From version 11, there have also been some changes to how easy or difficult it is to hit an opponent. They have made the hitbox slightly smaller when in squid form. Since the original Splatoon on Wii U, a little leeway was built into the size of the hitbox as players got used to aiming with motion controls. As players have become more adapted with the playstyle, this has also become less important. The adjustment in version 11 makes the hitbox similar to that of the hitbox in kid form and should stop Inklings and Octolings in swim form from being hit when they're hiding behind walls or corners. So you can see in the diagram, the kid form is basically the exact same. Nothing has changed with it. But the swim form, you can see that they've made the hitbox significantly smaller. Like it's a lot easier to actually dodge bullets or anything, so any sort of projectile if you're in swim form, which is very, very nice. And it just improves just being able to avoid things in swim form. However, that's not the only thing they've done. So some changes have also been made to hitboxes of players' shots. Shorter range main weapons now have a bigger hitbox, while longer range main weapons have only had their hitbox slightly increased. So the player's projectile, so let's just say you're using a splatter shot, the bullet is a lot bigger, and the Splash Shot Pro, the bullet is only slightly bigger. So basically, all weapons in the game have a slightly bigger, I guess, bullet that's going to be able to hit a target. So that's actually a really nice change, for especially just for hitting things in regular form, because now it's going to feel like, okay, my shots now make sense. My bullets now make sense for how it's actually going to hit people, especially for, I feel like, for closer range weapons too. This is actually a really big buff, because they even also say that it's going to make, like, give an incentive for closer range weapons that that have a harder time to be able to actually hit players that have longer range weapons. So it gives them more incentive to actually be able to do that, which is actually really, really nice. I do really enjoy that's you know, that's been added to the game. So it's going to change a lot of things to how weapons actually interact with each other. So like the meta that we know right now, it might even be changed. So we'll have to see how that works. They're giving a little bit of an example, of course, like the Splatter Shot Junior swim form, a little bit harder to hit, attack form or kid form, it's like easier to hit. Same with Splatter Shot as well. They've also put the Elite 4K scope as well. So squid form is much harder to hit, so it's a lot harder to hit things in that are swimming if you're using a charger, and kid form is actually a little bit easier to hit now. So you know, that's actually really, really nice. It's like a buff and a nerf to almost every weapon in the game. So it's going to be so interesting to see how this actually plays out. Now moving on to stealth jump. Stealth jump is actually, like, it's interesting that they specifically mention stealth jump here, but what they've changed is the flight time for super jumps has been increased depending on how far the stealth jump is. So if you're jumping with stealth jump, if you're close to wherever the landing point is, you're going to jump basically as maybe as normal speed. But if you're jumping way further out, the stealth jump is going to take a lot longer to actually jump through. So that's actually a really interesting change. It's like a variable change in terms of like how fast or how slow you actually jump in. So we have a video of that right here, so we're gonna go ahead and check that out. This is the example when you're not using stealth jump. You can see in both versions of the game it's the same speed, so it is what it is. But if you do apply stealth jump on, if you're jumping that far out, this is what's gonna happen. If you look on the right, you jump in much slower. It's a lot slower. There's a lot more time. So they've done that just so that you don't get super overwhelmed if, you know, people constantly keep jumping in, which is actually just such a welcome change, because it's just like sometimes you just do get overwhelmed and then like you can't even really tell where people are going to jump in because Stealth jump is so friggin' strong in this game, so, you know, it's kind of giving like this Splatoon 1 vibe of it too. I am interested to see how quick super jump though will change this though. I feel like maybe people might want to run more quick super jump to be able to counteract this. So I don't know how that's gonna shake things up, but I probably will have to like test it for myself. So, but apart from that, that's pretty much all the mechanical changes that they've done to version 11. So that's basically the big update when it comes to that. But there's also one thing that I have to check because we do have some patch notes, guys. We do have some patch notes. Actually, I'm just going to quickly refresh this just in case they've posted anything more. But now it looks like we do have some patch notes, which I am going to check out for you right now. So starting off with the L3 nozzle nose, they've increased the projectile speed by roughly 24% while maintaining the same speed of, or same distance of projectiles. So basically the L3 is close to a 25% velocity buff, so the bullets are going to be flying much faster. It's going to be hitting a whole lot more accurately too, but on top of this, because of this change, they've also decreased the ink radius at an impact point by roughly 15%. So it's got a painting nerf by 15%, which, you know, the thing already painted quite well, but now it's going to be able to actually fight, which is really, really nice. I mean, it's going to be nicer to actually use the L3 because currently in the game, the L3 is not really the most nicest weapon to use. So no, that's actually a really, really nice change. For the Dynamo Roller mains, or people who like using the Dynamo Roller, they're going to be eating with this one, all right? Because they've increased the amount of ink sprayed by horizontal and vertical swing. So you're going to be painting a whole lot more of the Dynamo. We have to check that one out for ourselves, but that's a really, really cool change. They've also adjusted the rate at which damage falls off over distance, allowing damage over 100 to be dealt at a greater distance than before. So the Dynamo's just going to be killing a whole lot better. But on top of all of this, they've increased the ink consumption and horizontal vertical swings by 17%. So you're going to have to put a lot more main saver on if you're going to be able to counteract this, because the Dynamo Roller apparently is now going to be a much stronger weapon than it was before, which is very, very nice. I feel really bad for people who wanted to use Dynamo really well because dang, it was something that was really struggling. The blaster, the regular blaster, hot blaster in Japan, but they've reduced the time during which actions are restricted after firing by roughly 2 frames. That's really interesting. So this is actually a buff to blaster. This is a buff to blaster, but it just makes it so the regular blaster is just a little bit more active in comparison to what it was before. So it's only 2 frames, but 2 frames can be a big difference. So it's gonna make this blaster much faster than before. So interesting. I wonder how the version 11 changes will actually affect blasters. I feel like, will it even affect this? I mean, maybe it'll just affect the projectile, but it wouldn't affect the like explosion radius, because I don't think that's what they're talking about with the version 11 updates. But you know, maybe it's something that's needed, so we'll have to see. For the H3 railgun, the H3 nozzle nose is what they're saying. They've increased the damage from 44 to 45. Sure. It's not what I want. It's not what I want, but maybe, but I don't know. Actually, thinking about it too, I'm starting to think maybe because they've increased the bullet projectile, maybe the H3 is actually a little bit stronger now. So I don't know. Maybe this could be a really nice change or maybe it could be the rebuff of H3. Fingers crossed. Maybe that's code. I don't know. But we have to see that one now, about that one. Splat Roller, they've decreased the time it takes for the ink to start recovering after horizontal vertical swings by 2 frames. So the Splat Roller has been buffed slightly, so you can recover ink a little bit faster by 2 frames. So that's also nice. Barrel Spinner Deco, this is talking about the heavy splatling. They've increased the radius of ink coverage by bullets splashes by roughly 12%. So that's actually a painting buff. That's actually quite nice. They've also increased the ink coverage radius at point of impact by roughly 12% as well. So heavy splatling, painting buff, that's actually quite nice to have. So, and I like the heavy splatling as it is right now, so that's just a really nice welcomed buff to have too. Quad Hopper, what the heck is the Quad Hopper? Sorry guys, I gotta Google this. Quad Hopper. Oh, okay, the Tetra Dualies, okay. They've increased the projectile speed by roughly 19% while maintaining the same projectile distance. So the Tetra Dualies has gotten A velocity buff. That's crazy. That's crazy. What the heck? It's so I mean, sure. The funny thing is that there was a person in my stream chat the other day saying, I'm not going to play the update if the Tetradualies don't get a buff. They got the buff, so I guess they have to continue playing Splatoon now, so that's crazy. So the Parashelter Sorella, and the Order Shelter, this is talking about the Splatbrella. They've decreased ink consumption when firing by 9%, so that's actually quite nice. So it's going to be, you know, it's a slight painting buff or efficiency buff to the Splatbrella. The thing that we've all been waiting for, guys. The thing that we've all been waiting for. The S Plus 9291 decreased the damage radius of short distance explosion radius by roughly 11%. Thank you. Thank you. That's what we needed. We needed that one. We needed that one because it was ridiculous for how the S Blast was performing, especially with that radius. That blast radius was ridiculous. I'm so glad about this one because it was just like, this blaster did not need that. It really did not need that. And also it like made it so that the regular blaster was so irrelevant. You didn't need to use it because the S Blast was right there, which is probably why now they've buffed the regular blaster 2 by 2 frames to make it faster than S Blast, because they both were performing the same, but the S Blast was just a much better main weapon overall, and the kits just were just crazy. So thank you. I wonder how it will perform now, but this was so needed. And also on top of being able to go in squid form and being able to like avoid shots a lot better because now your hitbox is smaller, that's also going to be another nerf to S Blast as well. So heck yeah, dude, heck yeah. Thank God. Oh my god, we're moving up in the world. So in terms of special weapons, there's only one special weapon. It's the Reef Sider. They've increased the radius of area where the explosion deals 220 damage by roughly 20%. The radius of the area inflicting 70 damage remains unchanged. Okay, so the explosion is now centered slightly higher, making it less likely to be blocked by small obstacles. They've also decreased the radius of ink coverage caused by the explosion by roughly 7%, and they've also decreased the maximum charge distance by roughly 19%. So it doesn't go as far, I would assume. I think that's what that's describing. But so it doesn't go as far. It paints a little bit less, but the explosion is just a whole lot more deadly. Interesting. Very, very interesting. That's actually cool. And especially if you pair that up with special power up as well. I wonder how that will change. So right, the Squicklin B, I think this is the Squiffer if I'm not mistaken. 200 to 190, all right. The Splat Charger and Spiroscope, 210 to 200, so that's okay. Hissing Hugh, okay, I'm gonna Google Hissing Hugh real quick so I can get the Hissing Hugh is the Tri-Slosher, 210 to 200, okay. The Screw Slosher is the sloshing machine, that's gone from 220 to 210. That's actually really fair because the sloshing machine has been so greatly nerfed since well, not really greatly nerfed, but like it was nerfed, and I think it's definitely not 220 tier at this point anymore. So the Prime Shooter is the Splattershot Pro. I already know that one. 180 to 190, which I believe that's because of the version 11 buff, so that makes it, you know, it's gonna be a much stronger weapon than before. S Blast 91, 200 to 210. I can't believe that was only 200. That's actually ridiculous. 210, yeah, fair, for now, just to see how it performs. But the Splash Spinner or the Splashomatic has gone from 190 to 200. So, and we go over here, regarding the weapons used, the X rankers will now show the weapons used most frequently within a certain period of time in X matches under that rule, rather than the last weapon used. I'm not too sure what this really means, I'm going to be real, but something to do with X Battle. But here they have an explanation of why they've done everything, and that seems to be about it. That is pretty much all the changes. So what do I think of these patch notes? It's just the beginning right now. I think they just kind of want to see how now weapons are going to perform, because definitely with the hitbox changes and the aura farming now, the flow aura thing, yeah, things are going to change in Splatoon. Things are going to change, and we're not. It's going to be a whole lot different than before. So we have just got to see how this is going to change the game of Splatoon. I think this is going to be really, really interesting for this. So with all that being said, guys, what do you think of everything? What do you think of the flow aura, the aura farming in Splatoon 3? What do you think of the hitbox changes, the stealth jump changes, the patch notes that we have? Things are changing. Third kits have not revealed themselves, all right? Third kits are not revealed themselves, but there might be a Nintendo Direct next week. Maybe we get something there or anything like that. I'm not too sure. We'll have to see. Because personally, I think if you're going to make a change quite like this, you're probably going to add a little bit more to the game. No, like, come on now. You can't just add this new mechanic and not give us a couple more weapons and all that to play with or anything like that, you know? Like, why would you even mention that there's no weapons going to come into the game? And I know for sure, like, of course, you wouldn't show off more weapons that are going to come to the game because you'd show it when the next season's coming. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think something's still cooking, but let me know in the comment section below how you think about everything. This is really, really interesting. It's all happening in like 2 days from now, so let's go, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this video, and I shall see you guys in a future one.